Today we've got another important episode of Light on Conspiracies with Ole Dammegard, and we're just getting everything rolling here as we go live. We're joined as usual by Cody Snodgres. Ole, how you doing here? Is it week 3 or the beginning of week 4 of lockdown?
It's day 22, the 22nd day in lockdown, and here it's the lockdown is officially pretty brutal. It's we can be fined up to $1,500 if we walk out in the street for no reason, or if we are two in a car, or so it's like. Even though when you look out there, there's nothing going on really. It's very quiet, apparently, because everybody is at home. And also we're being told that the military is here, but I've only seen one vehicle on photos. So it's like the thing you can do with just one vehicle. You drive through a town and then everybody sees it and think, oh, the military is here. But it was only one truck driving through. So I don't know if it's a massive psyop or what is going on. I just know that your videos have really inspired people to walk around to the local hospitals. I get videos from all over the place, and it's just incredible. There's even a hashtag Film Your Hospital, and people are doing that all over the place, and everybody is coming to the same conclusion, that they're empty.
Yeah, it's interesting because, again, I was just trying to, as David Hawkins says, ground truth. They tell us all this stuff is going on. It doesn't quite make sense. You go and look at it, you see the opposite. There's these concentrated pockets in New York that are kind of developing that seem to be, I guess, the epicenters or whatever. It's interesting that you say you've seen one photo of military vehicle. I haven't seen any military vehicles or any huge military presence in New York other than, working on the Javits Center and stuff like that. In my former industry, the movie industry, there's a very famous director named Roger Corman who said that he could shoot a gladiator movie with 2 guys, a chariot, and a bush. So what you're talking about, Ole, is, presenting something that creates a perception and then beating that drum, pounding that drum to really get people psychologically convinced that they need to stay in their houses. Cody, you've been involved in a number of black ops. You've told us all about that in previous episodes. What can you say about the psychological warfare aspect of what's going on right now?
Well, first let me tell you what's going on around here, Colorado. We're in Cascade, Colorado. It's about, 20 miles from the Fort Carson Military Reservation and Peterson Field Air Force Base, Shriver Space Command, all that kind of stuff. And what they're telling us here in Colorado right now, it's updated the 5th of April at 4 p.m., that we've got 4,950 cases here, 924 hospitalized. 54 counties in Colorado have COVID-19, they say. 25,773 tested, 140 deaths, and 37 outbreaks at residential and non-hospital healthcare facilities. But here in Woodland Park, there's another little town further west from Colorado Springs. The fire chief got on the news a couple of days ago and said that they were putting a 70-bed overflow thing in, and that they had repainted this old hardware store and got it all set up. Well, I just drove by there this morning early in the dark, and I couldn't see any sign of any of it. Now, used to the windows you could see through there, but you can't see through them now. They've blocked them. But I saw no ambulances. I saw no transport vehicles. I saw nothing. I also drove by the local hospital up here. They have a blue triage tent out in front of it, and I saw zero activity at all. Okay, now that was just this morning about 5:15 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and so my other friend Sergeant Hawkins went down to the Army base down there, and he said that they won't let anyone go in the infirmary. Used to, you could walk in there to get your medicines, and now they just walk out with guys with masks on, and you tell them your name, and they bring a bag with your meds in there. They won't let anyone. You just stay in your car, and you can't get out and go inside the infirmary at the military base. So that's the intel we have around here. But like Ole is saying, I have seen no activity at the hospitals here, and I just drove by the overflow thing just this morning. That was about 4 hours ago, and I saw zero activity at all. So I don't know what's going on. What we're being told on the media and what we're seeing on the ground are two different things.
Absolutely. And people are going to remember that
it's real easy to run a black op and a psyop and all that kind of stuff. You just have to have the right players, and it takes money. But to run one on a worldwide, global scale, in country after country, Italy, Sweden, U.S., Japan, Taiwan, China, I've never dealt with anything on that kind of a scale. And I talked to some Navy veterans yesterday, and they don't trust the government. They were all in Vietnam and saw a lot of the dirty stuff they did over there in the Gulf of Tonkin. And they told me yesterday, they said, Cody, I've never seen a time where I've been so confused. These are military people, and they're used to all the dirty stuff governments do. And then he said, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Do you know, Jason, there's a man called John Cullen. I don't know, I've never heard of him before, but hashtag John Cullen. And he has made a video that it's called Doctor. You have to look at this, but it's been taken away. But I've got it. I download everything here. And in it, he says that he's one of the people that have been part of constructing this map over many years that is now being used by Johns Hopkins Hospital, where you have all of these numbers. And, that shows all the different countries, the number of deaths, the number of recoveries, and so on. And he's downloaded the database from CDC in Atlanta, Georgia, and compared the numbers, and they are so way off. For instance, I'll just give you a few examples here. In the city where you are, which is called New York City, there are more dead, according to this map, and infected than in Russia, Mexico, India, Pakistan, Indonesia, Brazil, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia combined.
Yeah.
So you are right in absolute mayhem. But are you? That's the whole thing. That's the whole question. Are you really? There's another example. Iceland, with a population of 360,000, I mean, it's tiny, has twice as many cases than Shanghai, with a population of 24.5 million. And there are more dead in Governor Cuomo's New York State than all of China outside Wuhan. I mean, really? So you are in the perfect position, Jason, to call this for what it is. You should be in an absolute war zone, mayhem, chaos, zombies in the streets, and piles of dead bodies. But are you?
No. And I want to add, John Cullen is a regular guest on Crowdsource the Truth. Every Friday, we've got John Cullen's coronavirus investigation, and he's been sharing a lot of information with us. Just to put a point on what you're saying, he was involved in Oracle, the company that developed the database that drives this thing. So he has nothing to do with the CDC, but he's very familiar with the operation of this software. And as you pointed out, Ole, he's downloaded the original data that was used to feed this thing, which is, of course, this is the data. A lot of people who watch the show on Fridays are complaining, you're trusting this CDC data. That's not what he's doing. He's saying, hey, if this is the data that Cuomo and Trump and Fauci and BRICS are looking at, let's analyze the data that they're looking at. And as you've pointed out, Ole, does it make sense even in the context of their own construct? Why would they shut down the entire world if this is all based on projections? And now that we're on week 3, Ole, I seem to recall a lot of people saying that this was going to be an exponential whatever, and that, it would seem to me if it's exponential by now, we should see thousands and thousands of deaths. We've been comparing this to other seasonal sicknesses and how immunocompromised people respond to that kind of thing. Also, we need to take into account when you're looking at statewide and countrywide deaths like this, how does the act of locking everybody in their house, taking everybody off the highway, not allowing anybody to do any of the things that they normally do, how does that impact the normal, natural flow of how many people would have heart attacks from, work or car crashes or getting robbed and stabbed and shot? I mean, we're seeing this incredible focus on coronavirus deaths, but we're also hearing stories from Spain, where you are, from Italy, from all around the world, where these comorbidities, people who maybe have cancer and problems breathing already and organ transplants, they get coronavirus and they die from this, confluence of ailments, but it's recorded as coronavirus and it's driving panic.
You got also, the World Health Organization. When you check out the funding of that organization, it sounds like it's very, universal and it's independent. No, it's funded to a large extent by Bill and Melinda Gates. Go figure. So here's one of the major players once again where Bill Gates appear. And so can you trust the system when it's rigged like this? And can you trust the numbers? I would say absolutely not. And now in late March, the UK, England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, the official government pages took this away from being in a pandemic. They took it away as a pandemic, so they closed it down. Yet the media keeps pumping out how dangerous it is, all of these numbers. And we have the number 33, in the hundreds. It's ridiculous in all of these different countries. Ridiculous. And so can you trust them? But one thing that I find very alarming is that the Daily Telegraph in England reported that now the kits that are being sent out, where you can test yourself and send it, you swab your mouth and then you send it in for analysis, that these test kits are actually infected with the virus itself. Yeah. So I tell you, this is pure speculation, but I would not, knowing the way these dark entities, the way they think and work, I would not be surprised if the swab was there as a DNA test to add to their DNA library globally, and that the virus was actually in these test kits. It would follow just like the smallpox was spread among the native Indians with the blankets infected with them. It's been in other areas as well where the exact same thing has been played out. And Cody also knows how these poor soldiers have been used, for medical experiments for years and years and years with all kinds of weird things. I know, Cody, this is one of the reasons why the Alfred P. Murray building was blown to smithereens, because there was a lot of evidence there that was pointing towards very serious cases like this.
Yeah, it was a cover-up of the anthrax vaccines with the squalene adjuncts. A lot of those were made by Bioport. They waived, by executive order, FDA testing, and gave our approximately 480,000 of our troops in theater there in Iraq in 1991, that stuff. But there's some deeper things going on here. We're all back to vaccines again, Jason. You remember when we did that show on the day that William Barr was being had his hearing for confirmation, and Donald Trump nominated him for Attorney General?
Yes.
Well, I think we all ought to look at Dr. Fauci and look at his past and some of the things that he's done. Because just like I said, that William Barr was AKA Robert Johnson, CIA agent that was active down at the Robinson Bunker in Mena, and we went through all of that stuff. Okay, well, Barr was a cover-up artist for the Bush administration to help cover up the Iran-Contra stuff that went on. And this Dr. Fauci guy, it turns out he's got a rather sordid history. And I would ask everyone to go back, and check what they can on the internet and start looking at the guy. A lot of it's been sanitized out. That he is also deep state, just like William Barr was. Now, one way to tie into this is there's a PhD in biochemistry. Her name is Dr. Judy Mikovits, Mikovits, and she was doing high-level research showing that retroviruses were transmitted by the vaccines. This ties back into the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, like Ole was talking about, and it turns out that these vaccine things, there's a whole lot of undercover stuff that's been being done by Big Pharma, the WHO, the CDC, and governments and biochemical weapons research, covert research going on all around the world. You know, we've got 25 bioweapons plants the U.S. does just around the world. One of them's in Georgia, the Luger Institute there in the old Soviet republics, is Bio-3 weapons facility. But look up Dr. Judy Mikovits, any of you guys. On November 18th of 2011, she was arrested. And they wanted her to shut up her research. They held her without bond, no trial, perfect record, just like me. This is a classic deep state cover-up, okay? And Dr. Fauci later, okay, barred her from ever going on to the NIH, National Institute of Health grounds. And he had a standing arrest warrant for her because she was trying to break the truth about all this high-level bioweapon stuff. The coronavirus may be one of them that we're dealing with here. But she wrote a book called Plague, okay? One woman's task or whatever. But people can probably still get that book. But there is a lot of stuff going on here, Ole, you know, that are, like you said, with those test kits, they could be infecting people with them. The deep state's at work here, okay? There's a big disconnect between what we're seeing on the ground, like I did this morning at the hospital up there, and then what's being said on the news. I just quoted you all those statistics from the Colorado Department of Health, okay? And there's a disconnect. And there's a lot of real funny stuff going on with the vaccines, like the Israelis said they were going to have maybe in 3 weeks a COVID. What if they had this thing the whole time?
Yeah, of
What
course.
if it was a bioweapon?
I think they have had it the whole time.
How could you come up with a vaccine in 3 weeks?
Exactly. Every doctor, every medical professional, anyone in the pharmaceutical industry who's heard that finds it absolutely laughable. I mean, it just doesn't seem possible. And, you know, it's important that we remind everybody we're switching back to our normal format this week, which means at 11:30 a.m. we're going to start our sponsor-exclusive show that sponsors can enjoy on patreon.com/lightonconspiracies, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and also on Subscribestar. We want to make sure people have some time to get over there and join us on Patreon and Subscribestar. You know, along the lines of what you're talking about, Cody, there was this video that somebody sent to me where a person who, I think this is at Walmart, just based on looking at the shopping carts and the people who are, you know, just there, not the people so much as the store itself, but someone sent me this. It's a woman standing in line taking the video, and it looks like a video from a modern iPhone or Android phone. This isn't some dank meme. This looks like this was shot just the other day, and the woman in line is calling to this person who is basically touching every laptop there, and she's just asking this lady, you know, why are you touching every single one of these things?
Ma'am?
I don't know if we can hear it.
They all have to be touched? You sure? Oh.
So we see this woman who appears to be maybe Chinese. She's holding a cup in one hand with a napkin around it, and she's just rubbing her hands all over every laptop on display. She doesn't seem to be trying out the laptops. So the question becomes, as you've just suggested, Cody, if someone's got a pharmaceutical company that's doing, you know, vaccine research, they have viruses there. They're genetically editing them. They're doing all kinds of things to attenuate them so that they can legitimately use them in a vaccine that could inoculate the population against some kind of dangerous and deadly disease. But doesn't the same good-intentioned pharmaceutical company have a library of modified vaccines, modified viruses, some of which may have characteristics and capabilities that are even more dangerous than what they started out with. And if you were to inoculate an operative, somebody like this, who could just go from China to wherever this Walmart might be, if this person's inoculated against the disease, they could smear virus all over every laptop in the place. Nothing would happen to them, and you'd have hundreds of people getting sick. But we're almost out of time here on our YouTube and Facebook and Periscope preview, and people can join us in just a few minutes on patreon.com/lightonconspiracies and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Guys, Crowdsource the Truth has just hit 100,000 viewers on YouTube. So I want to thank the two of you for your important contribution. We've been doing these shows for years together, and the two of you are absolute champions of bringing forward the truth. And I want to thank all the viewers out there who have made this possible. We'll continue this conversation in just 10 minutes on Patreon and Subscribestar. We'll see everybody there. Thanks for watching.